somewhere in the ancient Near East, nearly 3,000 years before the first stock exchange opened. A man stood at a city gate and conducted what we would recognize today as a commodity futures negotiation. He wasn't trading grain or cattle. He was trading a root, a dried, aromatic root that merchants and kings across 4 continents would exchange for silver by weight. The same root that a Roman general mentioned in his dispatches. The same root that appears in the book of Ezekiel as a marker of elite international trade. That root still grows today. And the farmers who know what it is and what it's worth are quietly building the kind of wealth that most agricultural operations take generations to accumulate. We're counting down 13 plants, not the most common, not the most obvious 13 plants that the specialty agriculture world has treated as closely guarded secrets. Plants that the scripture, the ancient spice roots, and now the global wellness industry have converged on. Pay attention through every number on this list, because we'll stop midway for a story that rewrites what most people think they understand about soil, survival, and restoration. And stay with us to number 1, because the plant that closes this list grows in more climates than any other entry, costs almost nothing to establish, and is generating income that most farmers would call impossible if they hadn't seen the receipts themselves. Number 13. Ginseng. In 1 Kings chapter 10, when the Queen of Sheba arrived in Jerusalem with camels carrying gold, precious stones, and a very great quantity of spices, she wasn't bringing luxuries. She was bringing wealth. Spices concentrated, portable, and durable over long journeys served as hard assets before banking existed. Among the most valuable in the trade routes linking East Asia to the Levant were the dried roots of the Panax genus. The name Panax comes from Greek, pan meaning all, akos meaning remedy. Chinese physicians recorded ginseng in the Shen Nong Ben Cao Jing, describing it as a tonic that quiets the spirit, establishes the soul, allays fear, brightens the eyes, opens the heart, and benefits understanding. Korean royal physicians carefully managed ginseng gardens during the Goryeo dynasty. In the 18th century, French Jesuit missionaries discovered American ginseng in Canada, recognized its similarity to Asian ginseng, and launched a profitable transatlantic trade. Modern research centers on ginsenosides, ginseng's key bioactive compounds. Scientists have studied RG1 and RB1 for their effects on the body's stress response system, cognitive function, immunity, and endurance. One finding remains consistent: mature, wild simulated roots aged 6 years or more contain significantly different and stronger bioactive profiles than younger commercial roots. Age increases value. Pharmaceutical companies and traditional medicine buyers in Korea, Japan, and China pay accordingly. 6-year wild simulated roots commonly sell for $300 to $800 per dry pound. While verified, laboratory-tested roots have exceeded $1,000 per pound. Preparation is equally important. Traditional red ginseng is produced by steaming fresh roots at 98 to 100 degrees Celsius before drying, a process that increases rare ginsenosides such as RG3 and RH2 by converting malonyl ginsenosides into more bioavailable forms. This simple step, steam, dry, then slice, transforms ordinary root into pharmaceutical-grade material. Buyers pay for the chemistry, not the appearance. Ancient traders understood what today's market confirms: rarity creates value. Farmers who patiently grow ginseng beneath forest shade aren't simply raising a crop. They're cultivating a high-value biological asset. Number 12. Saffron. The Book of Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 14, lists saffron karkum in Hebrew with nard, calamus, cinnamon, frankincense, and myrrh in the beloved's garden. This is more than poetic language. In the ancient world, saffron served as a dye, medicine, spice, and sacred ritual ingredient across Persia, Egypt, Babylon, and Greece. Cleopatra was said to bathe in saffron-infused mare's milk before political meetings to brighten her skin. Ancient Minoan frescoes from around 1600 BCE even depict saffron harvesting, making them some of history's earliest images of agricultural work. The Egyptians used saffron for wounds and digestion. Ayurvedic medicine prescribed it for liver function, reproductive health, and mood. Persian physician Ibn Sina described its benefits for the brain and blood in the Canon of Medicine, a medical authority in Europe until the 17th century, across civilizations. The conclusion remained the same. Saffron offered benefits unlike any other plant. Modern research centers on crocin and saffronol, saffron's main active compounds. Clinical studies in Iran and Europe have examined saffron extracts for mild to moderate depression, with findings encouraging further research into serotonin regulation. Other studies in Italy and Australia suggest crocin may help protect retinal cells and support eye health against age-related macular degeneration. The science is still developing, but the research direction remains consistent. For farmers, saffron's value begins with one fact, about 150,000 to 200,000. Crocus sativus flowers produce just 1 kilogram of dried saffron. Every flower is hand-picked during a brief 2-week harvest, usually in October or November, and the stigmas must be removed and dried within hours. Machines cannot replace this process without damaging the delicate threads. A well-managed quarter-acre field in a suitable climate can produce 1 to 2 pounds annually, with North American retail prices ranging from $1,200 to $5,000 per pound, depending on quality and origin. To brew saffron properly, steep 12 to 15 threads in 60 milliliters of water, warm to 50 degrees Celsius for 20 to 30 minutes. Avoid boiling, which destroys aromatic compounds. This traditional Persian method, saffron dam karde, releases crocin and picrocrocin while preserving the volatile oils responsible for saffron's distinctive fragrance. A farmer who knows how to grow and store saffron sealed from light and oxygen in glass, under cool conditions, is managing more than a crop. They are managing an appreciating inventory. Number 11. Moringa. The Book of Numbers, chapter 11, records the Israelites in the wilderness, longing for the foods of Egypt, the fish they ate freely, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, the garlic. Biblical scholars note these were not luxury foods but the daily diet of workers in the Nile Delta. The wilderness lacked not variety, but the nutrient-dense foods they had relied on. The Egyptians had cultivated moringa oleifera, called bak in the Coptic tradition, along the Nile for centuries, and valued it for its remarkable restorative qualities. Moringa seeds have even been found in Egyptian tombs because of their perceived preserving and healing properties. India's Ayurvedic tradition lists moringa as a remedy for more than 300 conditions. Its nutritional profile explains why, gram for gram, the leaves contain more vitamin C than oranges, more potassium than bananas, more calcium than milk, and more iron than spinach. Moringa also provides all 9 essential amino acids, making it a complete plant protein. Its isothiocyanates are being studied for anti-inflammatory and potential anti-tumor effects. In West Africa, moringa seed paste has long been used to clarify drinking water, a practice modern engineers later confirmed because the seed proteins naturally bind sediment and bacteria. Moringa powder dried below 50 degrees Celsius preserves its isothiocyanates, glucosinolates, and the enzyme myrosinase that activates these compounds. Higher drying temperatures destroy myrosinase, reducing many of the plant's benefits. Producers who use low-temperature drying can therefore supply a premium quality product. A single moringa tree grown in full sun and well-drained soil can be pruned to waist height and harvested every 45 to 60 days, with each pruning encouraging thicker regrowth. Development programs across sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia have long promoted about 10 trees per family because moringa consistently delivers exceptional calories and micronutrients per square meter in tropical and subtropical climates. This is supported by humanitarian agriculture data, not wellness marketing. Number 10. Turmeric. In Exodus chapter 30, when God gave Moses the recipe for the sacred anointing oil, it included calamus, identified by many scholars as Acorus calamus, or sweet flag, a plant valued for warming, digestive, and antiseptic properties, much like turmeric in the ancient Near East. Across the ancient world, golden medicinal roots, such as turmeric, curcuma longa, were also recorded in India's Sushruta Samhita, Egypt's Ebers Papyrus, and early Chinese medical texts of the Han Dynasty. Turmeric's key active compounds are the curcuminoids, curcumin, demethoxycurcumin, and bis-dimethoxycurcumin. More than 10,000 studies have explored their effects on inflammation, brain health, metabolism, and the gut microbiome. Yet one finding remains consistent: curcumin is poorly absorbed on its own because it is fat-soluble and rapidly metabolized. Traditional methods of cooking turmeric with oil or ghee, then adding black pepper's piperine, shown in Planta Medica studies, to increase absorption by up to 2,000%, were practical solutions refined through centuries of observation. The biggest factor in turmeric's value is curcumin concentration. Standard turmeric contains about 2 to 3% curcumin, while premium varieties grown in volcanic or laterite soils with steady moisture reach 5 to 7%. Supplement manufacturers pay significantly more for certified high curcumin roots. Farmers who choose superior varieties and prepare their soil carefully are producing a premium specification, not simply growing turmeric. A traditional preparation combines 1 tablespoon of turmeric with warm coconut oil or full-fat milk, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and a little raw honey. Then steeps it for 10 minutes instead of boiling. The fat helps carry curcumin through the intestinal wall. Piperine slows its breakdown. Heat releases it from the plant cells, and honey may further improve absorption. 4 ingredients. 4,000 years of refinement. Number 9. Elderberry. The elder tree, Sambucus nigra, held a special place in Northern European tradition. Danish and German folklore said the elder mother spirit lived within it, and people asked permission before harvesting. Behind the belief was likely a practical warning: unripe berries, leaves, and bark contain cyanogenic glycosides that become safe only after cooking, fermenting, or thorough drying. The taboo may have been a cultural safety rule expressed through spiritual tradition. Ezekiel chapter 47 describes trees beside the Temple River with leaves that do not wither and fruit bringing healing. Jewish commentators have linked this vision to regional medicinal trees, including elderberry, recorded by Dioscorides in the 1st century CE for catarrh, fever, and respiratory congestion. Roman legions carried elder remedies during northern European campaigns, and in the Scottish Highlands it became known as the medicine chest of the country people. Elderberry's key compounds are anthocyanins, especially cyanidin-3-glucoside and cyanidin-3-sambubioside, which may interfere with viral attachment to host cells. Studies in the Journal of Functional Foods and other journals found elderberry extract can reduce influenza symptom duration. Researchers describe its action as immunomodulatory rather than strictly antiviral. Today, elderberry continues to be studied at institutions, including the University of Sydney and Charité in Berlin. To prepare elderberry syrup, simmer 1 cup of dried berries with 3 cups of filtered water for about 45 minutes until reduced by half. Strain. Cool below 40 degrees Celsius. Then stir in raw honey. Cooling first is essential because heat damages honey's enzymes and antimicrobial compounds, including glucose oxidase. Traditional healers followed this practice long before the science explained why. Number 8. Ashwagandha. The Atharva Veda, one of the 4 foundational Vedic texts, dating to around 1000 BCE, contains the earliest known reference to ashwagandha withania somnifera as a remedy for longevity, strength, and reproductive vitality. Its Sanskrit name means smell of the horse, referring to both its odor and the belief that it gives horse-like stamina. A member of the Solanaceae family, it is closely related to tomatoes and potatoes, thriving in similar soils. For over 3,000 years, Ayurvedic physicians prescribed it as a rasayana, a rejuvenating tonic prepared in warm milk before bed for the elderly, the recovering, and the overworked. During the medieval Islamic Golden Age, Arabic physicians recorded ashwagandha in Ibn Sina's Canon of Medicine, describing it as warming, strengthening, and sleep-promoting. Though developed independently, Vedic doctors, Arabic scholars, and East African healers using related withania species all reached the same conclusion. This root helps the body adapt to stress. Its key active compounds are withanolides, steroidal lactones, unique to the withania genus, withanolide A, withaferin A, and withanolide D have been studied for their roles in cortisol balance, muscle protein synthesis, thyroid function, and neurogenesis. A double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found significant improvements in muscle strength and recovery among people taking standardized ashwagandha extract. The FDA also recognizes ashwagandha as generally recognized as safe grass for dietary supplements, allowing pharmaceutical-grade production with certified withanolide content. Traditionally, ashwagandha root powder is mixed into warm, whole milk, known as ashwagandha shirapaka, with a teaspoon of raw honey added after the milk cools below 45 degrees Celsius, then consumed 30 minutes before bed. Milk fat helps absorb the fat-soluble withanolides. Warmth releases compounds from the root, and bedtime matches the body's natural cortisol low. Traditional healers perfected this preparation over generations. Modern research is only beginning to explain why it works. Number 7. Black seed. The Prophet Muhammad. In hadiths recorded in both Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, 2 of Islam's most authoritative collections described black seed Nigella sativa, or Habatus sauda, as a cure for every disease except death. Preserved for over 14 centuries. This remains one of history's most influential endorsements of natural medicine. For researchers, such a long-standing medicinal reputation among more than 1 billion people makes it a compelling subject of scientific investigation. Yet black seed's history predates Islam. Archaeologists discovered black seed oil in Tutankhamun's tomb, showing the ancient Egyptians valued it enough for the afterlife. Dioscorides prescribed it for headaches, toothaches, and as a tonic, while Roman physicians used it for digestion and skin conditions. Egyptian, Roman, Arab, and South Asian traditions all recognize the same tiny seed independently, a pattern suggesting genuine therapeutic value rather than coincidence. Its key bioactive compound is thymoquinone, concentrated in the seed's essential oil and examined in hundreds of peer-reviewed studies. Research has documented anti-inflammatory, immune-modulating, antimicrobial, and antioxidant effects. A review in the Asian Pacific Journal of Tropical Biomedicine found consistent results across multiple studies. Most evidence still comes from laboratory and animal research, while large human clinical trials continue to emerge. Even so, The growing body of evidence has sustained serious scientific interest across the Middle East, South Asia, and Europe. Cold-pressed extraction best preserves thymoquinone, while heating above 40 degrees Celsius begins to degrade it. Traditionally, 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil is taken each morning with a little raw honey. Mixing it into hot foods significantly reduces its bioactive compounds, an important detail rarely mentioned on commercial packaging, but essential for proper use. Nigella sativa thrives in warm, semi-arid climates and reaches harvest in about 4 to 5 months. It requires few inputs, produces abundant seeds, and yields one of today's highest value specialty oils. Demand spans Muslim communities, natural health consumers in Europe and North America, and Ayurvedic practitioners. Its market is driven not by trends, but by centuries of enduring tradition. Number 6. Vanilla. It was not a battlefield. It was not a clash of armies. It was one man beneath a juniper tree in the wilderness, asking to die. The prophet Elijah, in 1 Kings chapter 19, had just witnessed one of the greatest displays of supernatural power in Scripture. He had called fire from heaven. He had outrun a chariot. Yet only days later, he collapsed in the desert, utterly exhausted, praying for death. "It is enough," he said. "Now, O Lord, take away my life." What happens next is not a sermon, not a correction. It is food, water, and rest. An angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat." Elijah found bread baked on hot coals and a jar of water. He ate, drank, and slept again. The angel returned, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you." That sentence is remarkably precise from a physiological perspective. Elijah was not suffering from spiritual failure. His body was depleted. His glycogen stores were exhausted. His electrolytes drained. And prolonged stress had likely disrupted his cortisol balance through an overworked HPA axis. The angel's provision restored carbohydrates, hydration, and rest before the journey continued, strengthened by that food. Elijah traveled 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. That is more than poetry. It is a picture of cellular restoration, which brings us to vanilla. The connection is not its flavor, but the way something truly valuable can only be produced through patience. The vanilla orchid, Vanilla planifolia, blooms for just 1 day. If it is not hand-pollinated within 8 to 12 hours, the opportunity is lost. Its pods then require 9 months to mature, followed by weeks of careful curing and slow drying to develop vanillin, the compound responsible for vanilla's aroma, from pollination to finished bean. The process takes 12 to 18 months, and no machine has successfully replaced it. Premium vanilla beans, long, flexible, and rich with natural vanillin crystals, sell for $250 to $600 per kilogram. Buyers such as gourmet food companies and perfume houses are not searching for the cheapest supplier. They value dependable growers, because consistency builds lasting partnerships that are worth far more than a single harvest. If this kind of ancient wisdom, from the Book of Kings to the vanilla fields of Madagascar, speaks to you, like and subscribe, because what comes next goes even deeper. Number 5. Lavender. Proverbs chapter 27 verse 9 says, "Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart." The Hebrew word for perfume, quatoreth, refers to burned aromatic substances that spread through the air and affect people from a distance. Ancient Greek, Egyptian, Roman, Persian, and Hebrew cultures all recognized that inhaling certain plant aromas could change emotional states. This was not superstition. It was careful observation. Modern neuroscience explains this through the olfactory limbic connection. The olfactory nerve is the only sensory pathway directly linked to the amygdala and hippocampus, the brain regions controlling emotion, memory, and stress. Every other sense passes through a relay first. Smell acts immediately. That is why lavender's main compound, linalool, has been clinically studied for its anxiolytic effects. It interacts with GABA receptors, the same receptors targeted by benzodiazepines. The inhaled dose is smaller, but the biological pathway is the same. English lavender Lavandula angustifolia contains the highest levels of linalool and linalool acetate, reaching up to 38% linalool in essential oil from high-altitude crops. Lavandin, the French hybrid, yields more oil but contains more camphor, making it better suited for industrial cleaners than aromatherapy. The distinction creates two different markets with very different economics. Premium lavender oil is produced by low-pressure steam distillation at about 100 degrees Celsius for 45 to 60 minutes. This preserves the valuable ester fraction, especially linalool acetate. Over-distillation breaks these compounds down, creating harsher oil that experienced buyers quickly recognize. Proper technique is the difference between roughly $30 per ounce oil and $80 per ounce oil, a result determined entirely by the farmer's process. Lavender also supports multiple income streams beyond essential oil dried bundles. Culinary flowers, sachet, agritourism during bloom season, photography, you pick events, and soap and candle workshops. A well-managed half-acre in a tourist-friendly location has produced six-figure annual revenue in places like Provence, the Columbia River Gorge, and the North Carolina mountains. The plants remain productive for 15 to 20 years, while the farm's brand grows stronger with every season. Number 4. Goji berry. The Tao Te Ching never names specific plants, but its Taoist philosophy emphasizes preserving Jing, the body's essential life force through food, rest, and herbs. Goji berries Lycium barbarum and Lycium chinense appear in the ancient Shenong Benkao Jing and Li Shijian's Benkao Gongmu as tonics for the liver, kidneys, and eyes. A famous, though almost certainly legendary story claims Li Qingyuan lived 256 years while eating goji daily. The age is doubtful, but the symbolism is clear for over 2,000 years. Goji has been East Asia's longevity berry. Modern research has turned serious attention to goji's bioactive compounds. Lycium polysaccharides are valued for immune support, while goji contains one of the richest natural sources of zeaxanthin, linked to eye health. A 2011 study in optometry and vision science found that 90 days of daily goji intake increased plasma zeaxanthin and antioxidant capacity in older adults, suggesting protection against oxidative stress in the aging retina. Just 1/4 cup of dried goji berries provides about 160 micrograms of zeaxanthin, more than twice the amount in an egg yolk. Traditional preparation favors a cold soak of 8 to 12 hours in filtered water. This better preserves polysaccharides and vitamin C than hot infusion. The berries absorb water. The liquid turns amber, and both are consumed. Cold extraction also produces more bioavailable polysaccharides because heat can damage the chain structures responsible for their immunomodulatory effects. Goji shrubs are cold hardy to -15 degrees Celsius, drought tolerant once established, and remain productive for decades after their first 2 to 3 years. Organic dried berries sell for $15 to $30 per pound. A mature acre can produce 7,000 to 12,000 pounds of fresh berries annually, with dried yield at about 20 to 25% of fresh weight, even at conservative prices. The resulting income per acre is exceptional by small farm standards. Number 3. Matcha. The Japanese tea ceremony. Shado, the way of tea, is one of the most carefully codified rituals in human culture. Every movement has purpose. Every tool has its proper name and place. At its center sits a bowl of ceremonial matcha, vivid green, lightly frothy, with an aroma that shifts from grassy to savory to sweet. The ceremony is not truly about tea. It is about complete attention, with tea serving as the path to presence. That same attention extends to quality. For centuries, Japanese tea masters have refined the methods behind ceremonial-grade matcha. Tea plants, mainly Camellia sinensis var. Sinensis, are shade-covered for 3 to 4 weeks before harvest in a process called tana covering. Reduced sunlight boosts chlorophyll, creating matcha's deep green color while increasing L-theanine, the tea amino acid linked to what researchers call alert, calm, focused relaxation without drowsiness. L-theanine enhances alpha brainwave activity while softening caffeine's sharp stimulant effect and extending its benefits. Studies show the caffeine and L-theanine combination can improve attention, reaction time, and working memory compared with caffeine alone. This advantage is largely unique to shade-grown tea, since regular green tea contains far less L-theanine. Traditional stone milling grinds shade-dried tencha leaves slowly in granite mills, generating almost no heat and preserving chlorophyll and amino acids. High-speed commercial milling creates friction that degrades these compounds. The result is easy to spot. Ceremonial matcha is a brilliant jade green, while lower-grade matcha appears yellow-green or olive. Demand in Western markets is rising faster than Japan can supply. Growers in Oregon, Washington, and the northeastern U.S. are now experimenting with shade cultivation to produce premium matcha. The market remains open, and it continues to expand faster than supply. Number 2. Aloe vera, the Ebers papyrus. Dating to around 1550 BCE, with 700 recorded prescriptions. Recommends aloe gel for burns, skin irritation, and inflammation. In the 1st century CE, Dioscorides described aloe as a treatment for wounds, hair loss, and eye conditions. Alexander the Great reportedly seized the island of Socotra to secure aloe plantations for his army's wound care, potentially the earliest recorded strategic agricultural acquisition in military history. If true, it shows he recognized that a dependable wound treatment supply could influence survival in war. Aloe vera gel contains well-studied compounds, including acemannan, known for wound healing and immune support, aloe, found in the latex layer and removed because of its laxative and irritating effects at high doses, emodine, with antimicrobial activity, and enzymes such as bradykinase, investigated for anti-inflammatory effects. Stabilized aloe vera gel is recognized by the FDA as grass generally recognized as safe for food use, while the cosmetic industry relies on it extensively for skin care, hair care, and wound products. The most important factor in producing medicinal quality aloe gel is processing speed. Once harvested, enzymatic oxidation begins immediately, reducing acemannan quality. Both traditional healers and modern manufacturers process leaves within 4 hours to preserve bioactive compounds. Cold processing below 10 degrees Celsius slows oxidation, producing a different acemannan profile than heat-pasteurized gel. That is why premium functional food companies prefer cold-processed, minimally filtered aloe, with quality beginning at the farm. For growers, aloe vera is highly suited to marginal land. Its CAM photosynthesis lets it absorb moisture at night, dramatically reducing daytime water loss. Mature plants require little irrigation, reproduce through basal offsets, resist most pests, and serve steady demand from the cosmetics, pharmaceutical, functional beverage, and wound care industries. This demand is not temporary, it is structural. Number 1. Vetiver. Here is the plant most people have never heard of. The plant that may have passed through the same ancient trade routes as saffron and ginseng, known by names long forgotten, informs the modern fragrance industry still cannot truly replace. Vetiver chrysopogon, zizanioides, is simply a grass, yet that simple label hides one of specialty agriculture's greatest opportunities. After 18 to 24 months of undisturbed growth, its roots reach over a meter deep. Steam distilling those roots produces one of the world's most complex essential oils. Perfumers describe vetiver with the language reserved for exceptional wine smoky, earthy, woody, carrying hints of leather, tobacco, and damp soil. It is a prized base note that gives fine fragrances their depth and longevity. Without authentic vetiver, legendary perfumes like Chanel, No. 5, Guerlain Vetiver, and Dior Eau Sauvage would not exist. These fragrances support a luxury industry worth tens of billions of dollars. Synthetic substitutes, such as Cousimol, imitate only part of the profile. Prestige perfumers continue choosing genuine vetiver from Haiti, Réunion, and Java because natural oil contains more than 300 chemical compounds shaped by soil, climate, and distillation. That complexity cannot be manufactured. It can only be cultivated. Its biblical connection appears in Ezekiel chapter 27, where aromatic roots like cassia and calamus are listed among Tyre's valuable trade goods. Vetiver, known in ancient India as kus or ushira, belonged to the same tradition. Ayurvedic medicine used it to cool the body, purify water, scent fabrics, and relieve fever. Mughal royalty even placed woven vetiver screens in windows, sprinkling them with water to create naturally cooled, fragrant air. Vetiver thrives across tropical and subtropical regions, including South Asia, East Africa, the Caribbean, South America, and parts of the southern United States. Once established, it requires little maintenance. Roots reaching up to 3 meters deep make it one of the world's best erosion control plants, creating a second income stream through environmental restoration projects alongside essential oil production. Harvesting is labor-intensive. The roots are washed, dried, chopped, and steam distilled for 12 to 24 hours. The thick brown oil sells for roughly $150 to $400 per kilogram. 1 hectare typically produces 3 to 5 kilograms each harvest, while the roots regenerate for future cycles. At the end of the supply chain, that same oil becomes part of luxury perfumes, selling for $200 to $500 per bottle worldwide. A vetiver farmer is not selling a commodity. They are supplying a raw material that luxury perfume houses cannot replace. That is where real pricing power begins, at the very start of an irreplaceable supply chain. One principle connects every plant in this list, from slowly maturing ginseng to 2-year-old vetiver roots. Processing destroys what patience created. Ginseng develops its richest ginsenosides after 6 to 8 years, yet commercial farms harvest much earlier. Curcumin in turmeric becomes available only when combined with heat and fat. But most people consume it in water alone. Black seed oil loses valuable thymoquinone above 40 degrees Celsius, yet many stir it into hot soup. Lavender oil loses delicate linaloyl acetate when distilled at excessive temperatures. Modern processing values speed, uniformity, and shelf life. But each step often sacrifices compounds that traditional methods protected. Ancient healers were not simply following recipes. They refined preparation methods through generations of careful observation. Egyptian records warned against boiling saffron. Ayurvedic practitioners combined ashwagandha with warm milk before adding honey only after cooling. They were preserving chemistry they understood through experience rather than laboratory language. Today, modern phytochemistry is confirming many of those observations with advanced scientific instruments. Not every traditional belief survives testing, but enough do that the pattern deserves serious attention. So consider this. If civilizations separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years arrived at nearly identical ways of preparing the same plants, what does that tell us? Is science validating tradition, or is tradition the long experiment that science is only now beginning to explain? There may never be a simple answer, but it is a question worth remembering the next time you encounter one of these plants. If this video changes how you think about ancient wisdom, farming, or medicinal plants, hit like and subscribe. Share it with a farmer, gardener, or anyone wondering what to grow on their land. And tell us in the comments, which plant surprised you the most?